The hydroelectric funds, I believe, are in this book right here somewhere. Correct, 465,000.
It's page 20.
$214,061. We are attempting to keep approximately $250,000, I believe, is what we settled on, because it was originally set up that we would maintain enough money in that fund to cover generator and turbine replacement. The other thing is that the article that established that operation is very specific about what the money is used for, and we have historically been using it to reduce the principal on bonded issues or major loans that we have here for the town, which is what we have done with the highway garage and as well as with the safety services building. And to me, that is the most important place that we can make use of that money to cut back on the amount of interest that we're paying. And I realize that we're talking about paying interest on the grader here, but to me, the interest for the grader is quite a lot more minuscule than interest that we're paying on some of the $1 million contracts that we have for different projects.
Other questions, John? Are there any other questions? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll call for the vote on Article 20. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Article 21, receives the town vote to authorize the select board to enter into a 7-year lease purchase agreement for $185,000 for the purpose of leasing a dump truck for the highway department and to raise and appropriate through taxation $27,500 for the first year's payment for that purpose. The existing 2006 International dump truck H3 will be traded towards the lease purchase of this vehicle. The second through seventh year payments will be contained in the operating budget of those subsequent years. This lease agreement also contains a fiscal funding escape. Is there a motion on Article 21 moved by the chairman, seconded by Josh? Is there discussion?
Here again, we're in another situation. This truck was actually intended to be, I believe, replaced this year. And under the circumstances with the grader and what have you, we decided to make this lease purchase as well. This is a truck that needs to go away. It has run its string out. It's been giving us some trouble. We've had to do quite a lot of work on it to keep it going and so on. And this paper that I have here is our replacement schedule for the equipment that we have in the highway department as well as the transfer station. And next year is the only year that we have a blank line. With the adjustments that we've made and what we hope to contribute to it next year, hopefully that'll put us back on track so that we can continue with the capital reserve program as it has been historically and has worked well for us.
Question? Yes, sir.
Speaking for the BAC again, we
Please say who you are again.
Spec Hours, George's Mills.
Thanks.
This is similar to the previous one. One of the alternatives that was discussed was to increase taxes by an additional 10 cents. And the selectmen and the BAC decided that it was better to slightly raise taxes in future years rather than have a big increase this year on top of what is already a very big increase. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions on Article 21? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor of Article 21 signify by saying aye, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Article 22, are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating a sum of $125,000 to use for the 2014 paving program, in parentheses, if approved by the operating budget, will include it? I think I'll do this again. Are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating a sum of $125,000 to use for the 2014 paving program? And for your information, if this is approved, the 2015 operating budget will include an additional $125,000, making the road paving program improvements on a 50-year pavement management plan. Is there a motion on that? Josh, seconded by Shane. Discussion.
We had a $200,000 program that was in the highway department budget. Last year, we asked for an additional $100,000, which actually I think we asked for a little more. We asked for $200,000 last year, and with $100,000 going into the budget for this year. The paving program that Tony Bergeron got started for us a number of years ago was intended to be a 10-year plan. The condition of some of the roads, the prices of materials and things of that nature turned it into a 12-year plan, turned it into a 15-year plan, turned it into a 20-year or 22-year plan in the end. And last year we decided that it needed an infusion of money to help to get it coming along a little bit. And Tony was telling us probably 3 or 4 years ago that we really needed to have something in the neighborhood of $400,000 in the budget in order to maintain the 10-year plan. Scott has come back and basically told us exactly the same thing. If you want a 10-year plan, you're going to need to have $400,000 a year in the budget. So what we've done here is a bit of a compromise insofar as that last year we gave it an extra $200,000, $100,000 of it, which is in the regular operating budget this year. And we were asking for you to add another $125,000 to it, which should hopefully put our road paving and resurfacing program into a 15-year scenario, which if, I'm not sure that I'll still be standing here 15 years from now, but hopefully someone here can tell you that it's still working 15 years from now. I rather doubt it because the price of everything is going to continue to go up. But, and here again, if you folks decide that this is too much, we will make do with the $300,000 program that we're going to have Scott does have specifics as far as which roads are, so to speak, first, second, and third, and so on, so, hopefully, it'll make the roads better.
Any further discussion? Tim?
All together, something. I see what you're doing, and I really don't have a problem with what you're trying to do. But I think with either the fire equipment or the highway department equipment or the paving budget, I think you've had a really good approach in terms of your program and set asides over the years to try to cover that. When you do what you're trying to do here with any of these things, where you say, we need another $25,000 this year, and then we're going to include some money in our regular ongoing operating budget, whether it's for fire equipment or whether it's for highway department equipment, it takes away from your capital budget, and I think it really kind of clouds the whole issue. Because I really think it's a good approach to plan for what you need for fire equipment, what you need for highway department equipment, what you need for paving equipment or paving program. And I think when you begin to fool around with the money, so to speak, I don't mean that literally, but when you sort of say, I'm going to take some from my capital program and some from my operating budget, it kind of clouds that whole issue. I think it would be much better from a taxpayer point of view for maybe every year you come up here and say, hey, here's the projection for our equipment, here's the projection from our paving, here's what our current view of that is, and maybe we need to put some more money into that, or maybe less money. I think you need to clarify that issue, and that's just my general comment. I have no problem with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Scott?
This is Spec Hours again from George's Mills, speaking for the BAC, and I think this will be the last time I'll be at the line tonight. You're welcome. I want to make a quick comment about the parenthetical part of this. It mentions $125,000. Just FYI, that amounts to 11 cents of taxes. Other than that, I mention that because we want the voters to be informed and your decision based upon the pros and the cons. The BAC, does not make a recommendation because we think that's a policy decision that the voters should make. Thank you. If I may, I'd like to respond to the previous comment that there are several pages of spreadsheets detailing the paving plan for the next 15 years, I think. And there are several pages of spreadsheet detailing the planned purchases of highway equipment, and some other equipment, I can't remember. Fire, yes, thank you. So there is a monthly plan, which I'm sure Don would be happy to show you.
Any further questions on Article 22? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of Article 22, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Article 23, are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating the sum of $40,000 to purchase a new F-350 pickup truck, H1, for the highway department, and to fund this appropriation by authorizing the station to withdraw of up to $40,000 from the highway and transfer station capital reserve fund as established by Article 29 of the 1989 town meeting, and as amended by Article 14 of the 2004 town meeting, authorizing the sale or trade-in of the old police vehicles, Explorer and two sedans, and authorizing the use of said trade-in or sale to reduce the amount withdrawn from the said fund. Is there a motion on Article 23, moved by Sean, seconded by Representative Dudley? Is there discussion?
Getting my exercise walking back and forth, I have to put on a little bit this morning. This is kind of getting back into our capital reserve program as far as replacing equipment. The pickup in question is, I believe, a 2004 that we've gotten 20 years out of, or 10 years anyway. And there aren't too many, it's getting late and early at the same time. For kind of a frontline piece of equipment, as all of our highway equipment really is, 10 years I don't think is too bad. The pickup is starting to show its age, and so far as its rust is beginning to get into it and what have you. One of the things you may see in this that causes you to have a little question is that we're going to trade in 3 other vehicles that look to be police department equipment. 2 of them actually are currently being used by the police department. The third one is a vehicle that has moved from the police department to the highway department that all town departments use. The highway department uses it for to get people to the parts stores. To occasionally we send different folks from the town to seminars, any classes, things of this nature, and so on. So it's a little bit of a situation where we're actually working back and forth between departments to help to save us a little money.
Are there any questions on Article 23? Hearing none, I'll call for vote. All those in favor of Article 23, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Article 24. Are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating a sum of $25,000 to be added to the town buildings maintenance capital reserve fund as established by Article 17 of the 2010 town meeting? Is there a motion? Moved by Representative Godwin, seconded by Chairman Gallo. Is there discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Article 24. All in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Article 25. Are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating the sum of $26,000 to purchase a new commercial relief vacuum, identified as H27T, for the highway department, and to fund this appropriation by authorizing the withdrawal of up to $26,000 from the highway and transfer station capital reserve fund as established by Article 29 of the 1989 town meeting and as amended by Article 14 of the 2004 town meeting. Is there a motion on Article 25? Moved by Chairman Gallup, seconded by Josh. Is there discussion?
This will be an additional piece of equipment for the highway department. Scott can talk to the specifics better than I can. He came to us with this proposal, which is to help with the ditching program, as well as cleaning some of the other raceways around culverts and things of this nature. And it should help to make their ditch cleaning and things of this nature more efficient.
Yeah, Chairman Gallup's correct. Currently, we utilize our entire staff to clean all of our ditches out, both stone line and grass line. And this piece of equipment is a large trailer-mounted commercial leaf vacuum with a 74 horsepower diesel engine on the back. And its purpose is to make the department become more efficient in ditch cleaning. We won't have to use our entire staff to clean ditches. Basically, we'll cut the staff in half to clean our ditches. And it's towed behind one of our existing vehicles. And the leaves are blown into a leaf box, which is mounted on the back of one of our trucks, which we currently have. So it was all about making the efficiency of the department improve and allow us to do other tasks during the fall of the season.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for vote. All those in favor of Article 25, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Article 26, are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating sum of $25,000 to be placed in the Conservation Commission Fund to be used for the acquisition and improvement of conservation property, easements and other interest in land within the town for the benefit of present and future generations, all in accordance with RSA 36A. Is there a motion? Moved by the chairman, seconded by Butch. Sean. Josh, was that you?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. That was motion by Josh and seconded by Shane. Discussion.
The Conservation Commission asked for $50,000, and we told them that we probably should only put 25 in. This year, this fund was somewhat depleted through the course of a couple of events. One thing that was a very significant and very wonderful thing was the acquisition of the Wendell Marsh North. And I see John is here, and a special thanks go out to him and all of the work that he did in helping us to be sure to secure that piece of property. The Conservation Commission works very hard to consider properties around town for conservation. It's an important thing to keep a percentage of our property in town in a conserved type scenario, and there is some money that goes into this fund from the penalty tax that goes on to property that's taken out of current use, and we make that contribution each year. This year was one of the years where there wasn't very much taken out, so that wasn't too big, but we ask for a certain amount of money each year to try to maintain this fund so that if a piece of property comes up that is important to conserve, that we have the tools to work toward trying to do that.
Or any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. Article, all in favor of Article 26, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Article 27. Are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating a sum of $125,000 to pay an additional principal payment on the note for the Safety Services Building and to fund this appropriation by authorizing the withdrawal of that sum from the hydroelectric revenue fund as established by Article 28 of the 1987 town meeting? Is there a motion on that? Moved by Sean, seconded by Representative Godwin. Any discussion? You're walking your tail off, Mr. Chairman.
Good for me. My knees are all wore out, but we'll deal with that some other time. This is what we have historically done with our hydroelectric funds. As I said earlier, we're trying to keep a little bit higher balance in that fund these days because of the increased cost of replacement of some of the components of this unit. And this is $125,000 to go against the principal of the note on the safety services building, which will save us interest money in the end.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing those, all in favor of Article 27, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Article passes. Article 28, are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating a sum of $3,600 to be added to the cemetery expendable trust fund as established by Article 43 of the 1989 town meeting and as amended by Article 33 of the 1991 town meeting under the provisions of RSA 31:19, paragraph A, for the general maintenance and care of burial lots of the cemeteries and to authorize the transfer of said sum from the December 31st, 2013 unexpended fund balance. Is there a motion? Moved by Representative Godwin, seconded by the chairman. Thank you. Discussion. Question. John.
John, obviously, it seems as though this is on the warrant every year, on the ballot every year. And so my question is, does money ever get spent?
Yes, it does. The cemetery department has the expendable trust fund that they make use of as it becomes necessary to use. And the reason that this is on here is that the town, over the course of the year, sells the burial lots. And according to the RSAs, we have to put this money into the unexpended fund balance for the general fund. And it takes in order to move this from that unexpended fund balance to the expendable trust fund, we have to have an article on the warrant. That is why you see it every year. I know that they changed some of the boilerplate articles that we used to see, so that we don't have to see them anymore. And I'm not sure why this one continues, but it's there because we have to have it.
Follow-up question, please. So on page 20 of the white booklet, it says this fund already has $44,621 in it. So how was the $3,600 number determined? And I guess part two of the question, what's the target amount for that fund to have?
The $3,600 would be the number of lots that they sold this year. And there really isn't any target amount in that fund. It is used for kind of, major improvements or expansions or what have you for our cemeteries.
Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of Article 28, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Article 28 is passed. Article 29, are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating the sum of $5,000 to be placed in the milfoil control non-capital reserve fund as established by Article 16 of the 2002 town meeting? Is there a motion? Moved by Chairman, seconded by Josh. Discussion.